Welcome to Politics Done Right on KPFT. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is the progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. Give me a call at 713-526-5738. That is 713-526-KPFT. Remember, you can also send me a tweet to EGBERTOWILLIES. That is at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is politics done right.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Well, folks, welcome to one more edition of Politics Done Right. I'm Egberto Willies, your host. Thank you so kindly for being a part of the show. I hope you all had a wonderful week. You know, I had an interesting week, but anyhow, how are you doing, my favorite engineer, my favorite producer, Senor Don?
I am doing fine.
Just fine?
Just fine. It's been a long week. Let's just say that. I'm moving. It's a lot of stuff going on.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about what is that stuff going on? I heard there's some good news out here.
There is some good news. We have a fund drive coming up, and you are invited. And that's not just you, Egberto. That is every single person listening right now, and those people who are going to call in later to talk and ask questions. Everybody's invited to pledge and help us run this station and get this station up and, just really show that you love this station the same way.
When does it start, Don? Exactly when is it going to start?
It's March 1st.
March 1st. You know, folks, what that means is that KPFT for a change, we went how many months without a fund drive?
A lot.
A long time.
What, 4 months?
Yeah, 4 months. Folks, for us, that is that is like a record.
We used to go, every 2 months?
Every 2 months. And sometimes we had to jump in between that as well. But, we are not there anymore. This is great. And I tell you one other thing. Today, by the way, stay on. It's not Fund Drive today. Today we have a full show. But let me tell you guys something. When you come to Politics Done Right for Fund Drive, you're not just going to be getting Fund Drive. I just want to warn you guys right now before all of this stuff starts. When you come to Politics Done Right, you're going to be getting a full show, and we're going to just have little break snippets to ask you to support the show. Right, Don?
That is correct. Actually, for every show, you're getting your show. So
Right.
that's this Fund Drive that we're doing. I want every show to have a show and then have Fund Drive talk in between. We're not going to beat you over the head this fund drive
anymore.
Yeah, that's done. We get it. It's too much. You came here because you love the programming, and that's what we're going to give you, the program.
Absolutely so. But folks, we are going to have a great show for you today. I mean, the title of the show is "We Need to Revamp Our Entire Economic System to Save the Masses." And this is some serious stuff, and I want you to listen and not really, a lot of times when you start talking about things like this, people start getting into fear about what is he talking about or what's going on. I don't want any of that. Just remember that that we're going to be talking sensible stuff here. And by the way, folks, please remember the most important thing about those of you that are on Facebook Live right now is share. So I'm asking you to go ahead and, first of all, share the show. It is imperative that in order for us to get this traction for KPFT Politics Done Right is to, on Facebook Live, to share the shows. And more than sharing the shows, also like the page. Like Politics Done Right with Egberto Willies on the page. And please remember to like Egberto, go ahead and friend, not friend. You don't call it friend on Twitter. You call it follow Egberto Willies on Twitter. Anyhow, the name of the program, "We Need to Revamp Our Entire Economic System to Save the Masses." And the subtitle, "Our Current Economic System Isn't Divine, but Flawed." Folks, we are going to have a great show because this is an existential topic that many are afraid to discuss under the terms that I want to discuss it. I hope the audience participates actively, because unless we educate and get a groundswell of support, the status quo will continue. Bottom line, we must transition into a new economic system, a system that works for every single American citizen, a system that works for every single person in the world. But before I get to the program, I want to remind all our listeners that KPFT is a bastion of intelligent voices and programs. As a political activist myself, my favorites are Think Wing Radio with
Mike Honig on Mondays at 9 p.m.
Then, of course, we have Partisan Gridlock with
Jeff Berg on Fridays at 3 p.m.
And we have Open Journal with
Dwayne Bradley and crew on Mondays at 6 p.m.
And my favorite musical show here at KPFT, because it takes me back home. It is Jazz Latino Afro-Cuban Latin Jazz at its very best with
Juan Flores on Thursdays at noon.
Absolutely so. And then our own El Señor Don. He has the Human Condition. That's our engineer right here. Our Human Condition at 3 p.m., followed by the Free Minstrel Show with Don and Dwayne at 4 p.m. on Fridays on KPFT, the HD3 side. I know all you guys have your HD3 radios in the car. HD2?
Yeah.
Okay, so have I been saying this wrong all along?
No. So we have been so used to saying HD3 because at one point it was HD3.
Right.
We've been wrong for about a year. We switched it over to HD2 about a year ago.
I got to remember to change that in the thing. It's HD2, my friends, HD2. So it's 90.1 HD2.
That is correct.
There we go. So if you have an HD in your car, it's 90.1 and you go to the HD2 side.
Yep.
Okay, check out our full schedule at kpft.org, where you can find programming from music to politics to medicine to the eclectic. KPFT is listener-supported public community radio station, so please remember that if you like what you hear, visit kpft.org and ensure we remain a strong, viable community radio station that provides news, programming, and information not influenced by the core, not influenced by whom?
The corporatocracy.
Okay, folks, I want to know your thoughts. I want to know what you think. I want you to go on to Facebook and share. Let's get a whole lot of people talking about this. And do remember that the telephone number, this is a call-in show. Telephone number is 713-526-5738. Again, that is the number on Thursday, 713-526-5738. And I want you to call. Do remember, folks, hashtag for the show, Politics Done Right. And please go ahead and follow Egberto Willies on Twitter. But folks, do you know what time it is?
It's time for the weekly blog post.
Now here's the deal, folks. I want to get into this. I want to kind of precede my blog of the week by asking a few questions. Think about your life. Think about all the things you know. How do you feel about this economy and what you're able to attain within this economy? Do you really think that this economy is working for you, or do you feel like you are working for this economy? Do you feel like you're working for everybody, or not everybody else? Do you feel like you are working for just a few people? Do you feel like you see some people getting by? Some people getting by lavishly, and you not? Do you see that others are doing half fine, and you're not? Do you feel like you're not a part of the American pecking order, or not? Do you feel like you're working very hard and not seeing the spoils of your attainments? Think about that. Anyhow, the title of the blog is "We Need an Economic System Where Bill Gates or the Koch brothers is Impossible." That's the kind of economic system we need. And Tag and James, and we're coming to you guys after the blog of the week. And folks, keep calling and fill these queues up, because I really want to hear your thoughts after we get through the blog of the week. So here it goes. Not much frustrates me, but our economic system does. In its apparent brilliance lays a malignancy that will ultimately destroy our country and eventually the entire planet as we know it. It eats itself, folks. Every now and then I'm going to break into the text of out of the text of my blog to do some additional sort of explaining that I didn't do within the blog. To be clear, there is no free market, and the fallacy that capitalism as we know it is the most efficient distribution of resources, our economic system is a force. Is a force. I'm going to break out of the blog and just give one example. Healthcare. Every other country spends less and has better outcomes for their people in an economic system. If it is that using the capitalist tenets for healthcare were correct, then the reality that the economic system is the efficient allocation of resources would have been true. But that fact that we need socialized medicine for a more efficient system tells you it isn't true quite a few of the times. Like a religion, we all have been led to believe that our economic system is divine or the best we can expect. What is true is that it is the best for the few who decide to navigate it to take advantage of everyone else. If you want to be a teacher, you don't have any marginal ways of increasing your income other than what taxpayers are willing to pay you. If you want to do something altruistic, you don't have any other choices. But if you are willing to do everything at all costs to have as much capital as possible, the system is great for you. But it's not great for those who just want to do great for humanity. Ironically, most people do not set out to harm others' financial well-being at all. They are just following the legal path set forth by our economic system. Bill Gates used the tenets of our system to build his wealth. The Koch brothers inherited theirs. Gates did not grow up poor, but he was not blue blood. The manner both acquired their wealth likely influenced these billionaires. The guy who knew what it takes to make a buck himself, even in our flawed economic model, is much more compassionate than the ones who had silver spoons in their mouths. But the reality is, these two characters share more in common than not. One is benevolent, yes. The other isn't, yes. But they share more in common than they don't. They both wield power to control politicians, and with that, policies that affect us all undemocratically. It is the benevolent pseudo-dictator versus the evil dictator. Our indoctrination about how things are and should be has left the masses somewhat unaware of a just reality. What is just? How should things really be? How should things really be? The excess wealth of these guys is our surplus labor and earnings denied. Think about that. When they say they've earned something, what they mean is you've earned it for them. Okay? When those people design software under Microsoft and you signed a contract to say, okay, I'll take these pennies to build your software, ultimately forget about that contract. Their wealth is your excess labor that you were not coy enough to sign and protect. Unlike Bill, who when he sold Microsoft MS-DOS to IBM, only sold its ability to distribute with the computer, but not his ability to sell elsewhere and own outright, even as much as he earned it outright from that little company, I believe, in Seattle. In other words, he didn't build it. He didn't design it. It wasn't his intellect. He will never say it. You know, or let me back up. The excess wealth of these guys is our surplus labor and earnings denied. So remember that. And don't be ever fearful in letting folks understand that you understand that the monies these people have was actually the monies you were denied. Willfully, but yes, denied. In effect, we ceded them a proxy to what shouldn't be all theirs. Bill Gates intrinsically realizes after the fact that he must return his accumulated wealth. He will never say it that way, but the man knows math, and he has a heart. And when I say the guy knows math, this is what I mean. If everything were to stay constant, based on the way money grows, based on the way things occur in this economy, it is impossible for the capitalist system as we know it today to continue. You can't have the wealthy, that small percentage growing at 7% plus, and the rest of us growing at 2%, and them not taking the vast majority of the economy, and eventually all of the economy, making everyone else indentured servants. It's not a possibility. But the man knows his math, and he has a heart. The Koch brothers believe they are entitled to their worth, even though their only virtue was being a Koch. Both the Koch brothers and Bill Gates give away a lot of money, but their aims differ. The Koch brothers are ideological, while Gates is practical. Money capital is power. The thing is, we should not have an economic system where anyone can accumulate an infinite stream of capital. The accumulation is wealth denied others, not because of worth, but because of a flawed economic model. First, no one person can provide the service to accumulate the sums billionaires have. Impossible. They are dependent on others. And if they are dependent on others to receive a profit way and above those who work to create that additional capital, one can only classify it as legal theft. And why is it legal? Because it's the way our system was defined on paper. Think of it as a few notches above slavery. So all my fellow folks that are out there going to work every day, you know, you're just partaking today of what is nothing more than a new kind of slavery. Remember, the genesis of Bill Gates' wealth was not his product, and thus not his intellect. Moreover, as his company grew, his wealth increased on the legalized gambling that is the stock market, an instrument few can or should partake in, given its divergence from reality. Many wealthy and people aspiring to be wealthy tend to believe they are entitled to the manner in which they created their wealth. They tend to think they have more worth than those who manufacture things, grow food, fix cars, design items, and much more. They would even disparage the person who calculated that it is more efficient to take welfare after thinking about their economic maximization. These same people who criticize those folks who take welfare for their own benefit because, you know, it's easier, would use terms like make money work for me or work smart, not work a lot. How is that different than the welfare guy who says, I'm going to take welfare to work less because, you know, the option is there. I am smart. I'm going to maximize my acquisition of assets, acquisition of income. That's what everybody does. Now, I would look personally, my upbringing and all those things prevent me from wanting to do things of that sort. It prevents me from trying to be a real capitalist. It prevents me from trying to be a welfare recipient. Not that if I had to, I wouldn't. But I'm just trying to give perspective here. There's not much different between a welfare recipient and a billionaire. There's not a whole lot of difference. Both of them are trying to get monies with as little work as they can. They don't see the similarity in positions. They really don't see the similarity in positions. I mean, just think about that. Everyone tries to maximize their personal economy given the economic model they are in presently. In the aggregate, it turns out the wealthy are the most significant takers of all. And the reason they are the most significant takers of all is simply the sum, the total capital that they command. If you command that much capital, of course, your impact is greater. You know, when people always talk about, the takers on the street, the welfare recipient, the people that are stealing food stamps. Yeah, it's a bad thing that they're doing that. It's horrendous that they do that. But you know what? That's not where most of the theft occurs in this country. Most of the theft occur from the folks who really have real money. The folks that are pilfering your government. The folks that are pilfering your health care. The folks that are pilfering your social security. You know that stuff called reverse mortgage, the folks that are pilfering the assets you have created all of your life and created a new instrument to take it away. Those are the real takers. But we have been indoctrinated into believing philosophically that these people somehow are doing something special, worthy of character, worthy of having what they have. Folks, it's not the case. You are the worthy one. You are the one working out there. You are the one doing things, making things happen in this country. You are the one that's keeping this country alive. Not those guys. We have to change the frame of thought. We have to change the indoctrination that have told us we look up to those billionaires. We look up to those capitalists. We look up to those industrialists. They could not be where they are without you. In fact, a lot of the innovation themselves didn't come from them, but they used their capital to use you to innovate. You are the slave. Think about it. Engineer making $150,000, you're the slave. McDonald's worker making $15,000, you're the slave. When you understand the functionality of how these things work, suddenly it makes sense. It makes sense that the economic system must change. The world needs a new economic model. It requires one that puts humanity over one's capital, one that rewards those who produce, and one that presents the profits of the financial instruments, or rather, one that prevents the profits off of financial instruments, vis-a-vis derivatives, stock options, etc., that contribute nothing for society but allow the lazy billionaire, the lazy multimillionaire to find ways to make money irrespective of the economic conditions. You know, do you know brokers make money when the stock market goes up? And they make money when the stock market goes down. And guess who gets screwed? You do. You do. You do. The new model should work seamlessly with government, we the people, to decide what parts of the economy should be private and what part public. We base it all on humanity first. Humanity first. Again, what is it? Humanity first. For starters, everything required for our basic needs should be public. That means banking, healthcare, utilities, energy, and mass transportation. That we should ask questions about it. That should be public. That should be run by we the people. You have oil under the ground. You didn't put it there. You bought a piece of land that you're renting on top. That you didn't put that oil there, brother. That isn't yours. That belongs to the body politic. That belongs to us all. Our inherent rights for being Americans. Mostly everything else should be private. Okay? I don't have a problem with privacy. The things that are private are things that you produce, things that you made, things that came out of your labor, things that came out of who you're being. Not something that you inherit, something that you happen to find, something. No. The private comes from what you make, what you produce from your own being, from your hands, from your intellect. That is private. That is private. That is private. The previous statements may sound radical to many because they have been brainwashed. They have brainwashed us into believing that maximal privatization is best for society or more efficient. Reality has proven something completely different. More so than not, it has created ever-growing income and wealth disparity, with those least deserving continuing to profit from our flawed economic model. We must open our minds to the possibility of a more just economic model without the fear that comes with the false accusations that wanting one is tantamount to one being a communist. Don't let these people take you off track. The reason they do that is because they want to shut the discussion down as soon as you say we need a more equitable system. Communists! And you fear because the Red Scare comes about. You know what? I'm not scared for whatever anybody tells me. I tell you the kind of economic model I think would best serve us. Let's get intelligent people in the room, you, and decide what economic model best serves you. Not somebody who just went to some crazy school and decides this is how I can maximize things for me. That's what we need to get away from. So we must open our minds to the possibility of a more just economic model without the fear that comes with the false accusation that wanting one is tantamount to one being a communist. Once we regard the notion that the economic model under which we live is the best or only one possible, it opens the possibility to transition into one that works for everyone. Let me repeat that. Once we disregard the notion that the economic model under which we live is the best or only one possible, it opens the possibility to transition into one that works for every single American, and taking that further for every single person on this earth. And that's where we go, my friends. This is a call-in show, 713-526-5738. Again, that number is 713-526-5738. We have lines open, and I will start with El Senor. Tag, you're on the line. Or on the air.
Thanks, Egberto. How you doing?
I am doing fine. Talk to me, my brother.
I think people are a little confused about economic models because democracy is not an economic model. That's
No, it's
a
not.
political model.
Right.
And capitalism is not a system of government. That's a system of business.
Exactly.
And when we talk about being communist, I think that brings in both, right? The economy and the government.
Right.
So, but we talk so much about socialism. Socialism is not an economic model. That's a form of government.
Right.
And that form of government is defined by we the people.
True.
So when people think that we don't want a socialist government, we already have. It was built on the socialist, and it's not communist; it's socialist.
Right.
And it's never going to change until they change those first three words in the Constitution, we the people. It's never going to change. Despite what they want to have as a economic system, it's the socialism part of it's never going to change. So, but I wanted to make that comment because it's kind of what you're talking about. But one thing in the past you've talked a lot about, change the subject here a little bit, is the blue wave.
Yes.
And I'll tell you what, God bless the school kids for causing a tsunami in the blue wave. And I think that in order to make a big change coming up, we need to support our kids and advocate for them to go out and help to push this drive.
Tag, I am so happy that you said that, because let me tell you something that happened today. I was, I go to Starbucks in the morning to write my blogs, and I was out there writing also the blog of the week. And what is interesting is there were these two high school kids, right? They were sitting down, and here it is. I have to start writing. I'm running out of time. And I'm so enthralled with the conversation that these two young Kingwood High School students are having. So I finally had to interject myself, and I'm like, hey, guys, are you guys high school students? And they're like, yes. And then I'm like, wow, that was an enlightening conversation. I'm sorry to have listened in on you guys, but that was an enlightening conversation that you two 17 and 18-year-olds were having. Tell me what you think about what's going on. They said, like, you know what? This is it has always bugged us, these different shootings and killings, but this one is different. This one is different because we took it to social media, and all over the country now people are responding to each other. And the young lady there was the one that there's a guy there that was talking, he was really into saying, we're going to sort of make a change on this, and we're really engaged on this issue. The only problem is that, a lot of folks don't have the thing to vote. And then the girl said, but you know what? We are engaging with these folks, and even the ones that can't vote now, a lot of them are going to be able to vote back by the time it's election time. So, look, this is not about playing the cards right. This is about making sure the cards are right. And these young people, I am so proud of what I'm seeing, and that is that they're starting to engage politically. So where I was fearful because of a lot of the crap going on with the people, the middle-aged folks and all of those guys kind of trying to play it safe and all that sort of things, I was really getting upset. I am seeing these millennials and now these high schoolers taking the ball and saying, to hell with you guys. We are going to run with it, and we are going to tell you, we're going to elect the folks that are going to buck all these confounded lobbyists. So thank you for bringing that up, Tag, because like I said, that conversation with those high schoolers left me, first of all, joyful, because it was like, wow, I was just happy to see that. But these guys, I think they mean business now. I honestly think they mean business.
I think what you see out of these young people, they haven't been influenced by politics, and they're very ideologic. I can't even say
idealistic.
Yeah, idealistic. And so what's going to happen is that they don't have that weight of the past years in the brainwashing that like a lot of older folks have.
Right.
And so therefore they can come forward and say, yeah, this is the way it is. And older people go, well, you're absolutely right. I don't know why we didn't think about that. So I'm very, very excited to see this starting to happen, and I think it's just going to turn into a tsunami.
I sure hope so, and I tell you what, I'll be doing my part, and I hope everybody else will be doing their part. Well, I know other people are going to do their part, but you can also help do your part by sharing these shows, my friends. Share. If you're listening to Politics Done Right, do two things. Share the show and also support the show. So please go ahead. Share. But thank you. Is there anything else you have to say?
Call your congressmen and senators.
Thank you.
No, right now is the time to do that and flood their offices with a call. So thanks, Egberto. You have a great
Thank you very much, Tag.
Bye-bye.
You have a great one, my friend. All right, let's go now to Línea número 2. Let's go to James. Come on in, James.
Thank you, Egberto, for taking my call.
Absolutely, sir.
Well, I'm fortunate to be coming behind Tag because he's thinking in the line I'm thinking. Is to continue to encourage the youth to support each other, to get behind each other and drive each other, because they are on the right path. They're on a wave, and it's a wave that's purpose. It's for restoring America to where it's supposed to be, and it just makes sense that it's happening like it is through the youth, because it's about the future. Okay, now let's say I would encourage the youth. What's the first word in the Constitution?
We, the people.
We. That's a principle. That's the most powerful principle that God instructs us to do. That's where His power is in unity. It's unite. So I want to encourage them, the youth, from 16 to 18, to stay united. Okay. Now the first thing that want to happen is the mainstream politicians. They recognize this. They're going to try to divide you. That's how they're going to come at you.
Absolutely so.
So now, be aware of that. But now, get your strategy. And I would encourage them to use an old school strategy that was effective during past revolution. It's called boycott.
Exactly, yes. In fact, the sanitation boycott. Right, yeah. Go ahead.
But now, that's an awesome power because of social media. I mean, if you can imagine, let's say, whatever suit that one of the Koch brothers wear, if you can find out what that suit is and who makes the thread and the cut, whatever, you can see where you can choose how to spend your dollar. That's what boycott is about. You don't have to walk around some building now. You can just encourage your friends to make a choice on who do we spend our dollar with and who we don't. Because that's what the future economy is about, is choices. Choosing how to spend your dollar. That's your power. Your power is your money and your unity. That's your power.
Look, you are so right. You are so right, James. I'm glad that you called to say that. And you brought up social media and also the, using and what the kids are using now. And that's why it's so important. And as much as net neutrality and all of that was kind of put in limbo, that is why we have to keep it. Right now, Facebook did a little thing that affected the way our posts are shared on Facebook, that sort of creating some issues with progressive programs like mine. So while I'm speaking here, I want to tell folks on Facebook, if you're watching this, share it throughout your social media domain. It is imperative that it's done in order for us to make sure that we can get these particular messages out. James, is there anything else you want to say real quickly?
Well, I just want to encourage the youth. This is your time. This is for you. This is for your future. You don't have to wait to vote right now because your time is coming to vote. But plan a strategy. Forget that old school intellect.
Absolutely.
Okay? But you depend on your wisdom that you and your friends have, and that you can begin to continue this fight. Stay united.
Thank you so kindly for calling, James. You have a great one, my friend.
All right.
Bye-bye. Okay, folks, I want to talk to the folks on Facebook Live. Facebook Live, welcome aboard Roberto Lewis. Thank you for showing up, my friend. Gloria Nunhole says, yes, the future belongs to these wonderful young people. Michael Dean Newton says, there's a lot of little waves making up a tsunami. And Tommy Greco says, I agree with you on point after point. Thank you, my friend. Norman Bunk says, amen. Let's see. Kenya Sheeler says, my daily cup of, and I think that is coffee. Absolutely so. And we have David Clemmer says, my second listen, not my last. Thank you for the sincere, transparent, honest delivery of thoughtful content. Thank you so kindly for listening. And I want to beg of you to be sure to share our programs. Tell people about KPFT. Tell people about Politics Done Right. Let's make sure that they know there's an alternative place that they have that they can get truthful, valid, unbiased information. Yes, progressive, but yes, it's progressive. But you know what? We make sure and we try our best to be right. So keep on coming. Chase K. Escamilla, welcome aboard. Karen Cone Wright, waves. I like that. And of course, El Señor Milton Gibson, Señor Don Juan, welcome aboard as well. Okay, let's go ahead and go to Rick on line 5. Come on in, Rick.
¿Cómo estás, mi hermano?
Say it again.
How's my brother doing?
Your brother is doing fine, Rick. Talk to me.
Good. Well, like you said just a while ago, we've had a couple of things that, had me worried for a while, but these millennials have created that beginning of that tsunami.
Yes.
First with Bernie Sanders.
Yes.
And now with this gun thing.
Yes.
Now, and then I'm beginning to see those elections popping up here and there.
Right.
And those Generation X and those millennials are going to do the right thing. They're going to do the right thing for us, baby boomers and everything else. And the one thing that you mentioned earlier was lazy money.
Yes.
Okay? These politicians are taking that lazy money, that evil money.
Right.
Dinero del diablo.
Exacto. Lo entiendes perfectamente, mi hermano.
Right. And they're taking that from the gun maker. Okay? Well, so what? So the gun maker manufactures something, but it's an evil thing.
Right.
Okay? And now they're taking it, and they're about to lose it. They don't want to lose it. Okay? That's why they try to cover it. But it's so funny. If you look back in history, 1967, Wilford Act in California.
Yes.
Ronald Reagan initiated that to control guns, and the NRA decided to help them too, because the Black Panthers were marching around the public with rifles. Oh, all of a sudden, it didn't work in their favor, so now they're in favor of gun control.
You know what? It's so funny. I wrote an article about 3 days ago called I wrote the article, but I was really copying the article from another writer at, I think, The Atlantic, and I added my little angle to it. But that's exactly what I said. The indication was, hey, guess what? Black and brown people just may be able to save the nation from all this gun killing. All we have to do is start buying guns. Watch how fast we get gun control. Así que mira, amigo mío, tú nos vas a ayudar, hombre.
That's right. That's right.
Okay, but look.
Okay, y'all have a good day.
You have a good one, my friend. Thank you so kindly for calling. Okay, let's go to Scott, line number 4. Come on in, Scott.
Hi, thank you. What tax bills in Congress would you support?
I would support every tax bill that taxes what I call the ill-gained income of the wealthy. And let me tell you what other tax bill I would support. I would tax right now. This is what we've done in this society. We've said that the working man income is taxed at a very high rate in the aggregate. In other words, you can be taxed at up to, I think, 38 or 40% of your income. But if you own stocks, which gets capital gains away from you while you're sitting down at your pool, the maximum we can charge you, I think they raised it to, it used to be just 15%, the maximum. I don't recall what the maximum appreciation on stock taxes are now. If you sit down on your butt and does nothing, then you don't have to pay as high a tax. I would reverse that. Income made from investment should be taxed at a much higher rate than income made by the working man. Period. Go ahead.
Well, I don't find this specific. I know the H.R. 676 is a Medicare for all bill.
Yes.
Sheila Jackson Lee is a co-sponsor. I voted for her last Tuesday.
Right.
I want concrete things.
Okay, let me stop you right there as far as concrete things. There's nothing concrete. Now, 676 is great, but it's not really a tax bill. It's a social program.
I know,
okay?
It's economic.
Exactly. So, but what I want to say, though, with respect to what tax bill, I can almost guarantee you that I don't support particularly any tax bill that any person has in Congress right now, because they are all following the same pattern. They're doing absolutely nothing for the average person. What I told you is a tax bill that I would support. And what I'm also saying is that come November for our election, we should be supporting candidates who would support those types of tax bills.
And taxation is a rather complicated issue.
Not really.
Not simple like, I think abortion, gay rights, marijuana are
I beg
pretty
to
simple.
differ, my dear
I
friend.
want the government out of them.
Yeah.
Gay rights, I think there's nothing wrong with being gay. The other viewpoint is a sectarian viewpoint,
Right.
infringing on separation of church and state. It's very simple for me.
Yeah. Now, let me just say one thing, my dear friend. I think I need to disagree with you about taxation being difficult. Let me tell you why taxation is difficult. Taxation is difficult because there's something called, I forgot, chaos, right? You can do a lot of stealing, ripping off when there's chaos. So if you have a chaotic tax system, then you can have a whole lot of people who can find ways to screw it, to make off with it. However,
there are lots of tax brackets,
right,
and there's lots of deductions.
Yes, but what I'm saying, I would love for us to be very, very simple. Taxation should be rather simple, completely simple. We should have a basic amount of income everybody is entitled to, and after that basic amount of income, taxation becomes very, very easy.
Okay, you're talking about minimum income as in Finland?
We start with a minimum income. I do want a minimum income.
Richard Nixon played with that idea, but then when 1972 came around, he raped George McGovern over the coals about it.
Yes, politics, yes. But yes, I believe in that we should have a minimum income. We, as a rich country with a ton of natural resources, which belongs to us all, there is no reason for us to not have a minimum income. I mean, we are a resource-rich country. We should have a minimum income, and then we can create a progressive tax system on top of your income that you make in excess of the minimum income, and it then makes things very simple. And you know what you do, my dear friend? You adjust as you fail, because we're only human. As we fail to collect what we need, we adjust. If we collect too much, we adjust. It's that simple. So no, I think social programs, social issues are a lot more complicated. But I got to go to the next caller, my friend.
Well, I did want to say there have been times when I was broke, and it costs money to look for a job.
Yes, it does.
Gasoline or bus fare or
yes,
getting your suit cleaned.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay, thank you.
Let me just answer you one other thing before you go, because I think what you said is important. And I think about it costs you to look for a job. I think it is so important for people to realize that. And also I think it's so important for people to realize that innate within our nature is not to sit back and do nothing. That's not, I don't know of anybody. There are a few people who can lie in bed all day and do absolutely nothing, but the vast majority of people want to be doing something. And not only that, if we are culturized civics within our schools, which a lot of schools have removed that, and learn how to be good citizens, which also indoctrinate us in the process of working, we wouldn't have a problem. But the truth of the matter is, there's a whole lot more to this issue. Thank you so kindly, Scott, for calling. You have a wonderful day, my friend.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, let's go to MOD, línea número 3. And, folks, we have open line, 713-526-5738. Again, that number is 713-526-5738. MOD, my dear friend, come on in, my brother.
Hello.
Talk to me.
Oh, hi. I'm listening to the show, and I appreciate it, Roberto. There's something that happened during the late 70s and during the 80s, and it was a doctrine.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to give you the Wikipedia sentence.
Right.
It is a theory that Western governments during Cold War used tactics aimed to divide, manipulate, control public opinion using fear,
right,
propaganda, disinformation, psychological warfare, agent provocateurs, and false flag terrorism actions in these regions. The name of this doctrine is called a strategy of tension.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what was done in its document. It's called Operation Gladio.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the state-sponsored terrorism and carpet bombing. This occurred. This is not an opinion. I'm just giving you some facts, all right? Do you see or think, Egberto, that there's tension going on here?
Yes,
in
there
the last
is.
3 years in this country?
Yes, absolutely. So not only that, I also think that exactly what occurred then about the dissension, the dissemination of false information, bad information, red scaring, and all these other issues, I think they're completely back in full force. A lot of people don't know what or when or where to believe, and my goal is with our program here is to try to mitigate some of that. But absolutely so, MOD, you're absolutely correct.
So if we are seeing, especially in the last 3 years, right, these terrible things, I'm not going to get into the, people what they think or believe, but what's been going on? It's very similar to things we've seen in other countries in the past, of recent, actually.
Oh, yeah, but, let me tell you, we have never, as Americans, we have never been saints, okay? And we don't need to really talk about the things that we do or anything like that, because we are a country, and, we're not, none of us are innocent, and no country is innocent, and I could go through the list of things. So the bottom line is, you're correct that there are these things happening, but the most important thing is, what do we do about it? And what do we do about it is we inform.
Well, I think that, of course, and that's why we talk and we support that discussion. I don't say we have time to become an expert on a subject so we can feel comfortable in debating or discussing it in a public, format. But, we have embraced prolonged losing wars in peripheral regions while embracing destructive trade wars in strategic regions, meaning...
you know what? That is a profound statement, a very true statement. And I want to leave it right there for now, because that is a subject that I want to tackle at another time. But the lines are filling up again, MOD. Right. I just wanted but I want to tell you that statement that you just made there, that is profound, brother. A lot of people don't get it. Okay, let's go to Johnny, line 1. Come on in, Johnny.
Hey, Egberto. I don't know if you've already mentioned this, because I tuned in late, so I apologize if you've already gone over this. I heard you make reference to banking earlier.
Yes.
Are you familiar with a gentleman named Phoenix Goodman?
No, sir.
Phoenix Goodman, he's the co-founder of something called the Public Bank of Los Angeles.
Okay.
And he's on tour right now talking to different media outlets, explaining some of the nuts and bolts of how he and some other people have started a public bank owned by the city of Los Angeles.
Nice.
As an alternative to doing business with Wells Fargo and other big banks who rip people off and invest in oil and gun manufacturing and weapons manufacturing. He would be a great person, I think, to include on your...
And I will. And there's another woman that does it. I think she that talks about public banking. I don't recall her name right now. But I think North Dakota as well In fact, all their state funds, I think, go into either North or South Dakota, or one of those Dakota or those states in the Midwest. They do public banking, and it works just fine. And we could have an entire subject of why banking should be public and not private at all. But that's for another time.
Yeah, and as a matter of fact, and to keep the ultra-wealthy from going totally nuts on us and declaring war, I would think that we could have both. You know, just like you could have a universal health care system that includes an option, a Cadillac option for the ultra-wealthy.
Right, but you know what is so funny?
Do that here for banking as well as health
care. Johnny, here's the deal. Folks like me, we're not opposed to private health care for everybody else who want to buy private health care. We're not opposed to private banking for those who think private banking does something better for them. The reality about it is the reason there are folks who don't want to don't want public banking and don't want public health care is that the vast majority of people would prefer the public one because of the cost. And who really wants to sit down in a hospital? So you don't need to be paying premiums, crazy premiums for the rest of your life, even though you're going to be only sick 1% of the time. And for that time to not have luxury, what's the big deal? And they know that a lot of people are going to make that calculation. And the same with banking. How many times do you sit down and have a relationship with your bank? Very few times. So therefore, they want to keep it private so that they can continue to pilfer. Johnny, I got to go to some other calls. Any other thing you want to say real quickly, my friend?
Yeah. Also, since you're into trying to retake the Democratic Party, another way to do that is to endorse people who are running under the Justice Democrats.
Right.
They've got a website, justicedemocrats.com/too strong. TOOSTRONG.
Let me remind you, my brother Johnny.
justicedemocrats.com/too strong.
Brother Johnny, let me remind you something. You can do that. I cannot.
Well, you can interview some of these people, just
we
like
will.
Cenk Uger's been doing.
I hope you realize that we've been interviewing.
Candidates.
I hope you realize we've interviewed quite a few Democratic candidates. So we do our part, my friend. We make sure that progressive get their view, and that I do that all of the time. So you be great, my dear brother, and we talk some other time, okay? Bye-bye.
One last thing.
Bye-bye. Oh, yes, quickly.
Well, when I tuned in, you were comparing the ultra-wealthy New York banker-type welfare guy to the woman down the block from me who's trying to work her way through nursing school, single mom.
Right.
I don't equate those two on the same plane. She's way, way better.
Okay, I think that's what I alluded to, but I don't know. Maybe you heard it wrong. But thank you, my brother.
I apologize if I misinterpreted you.
Yeah, I think you did.
You already explained it when I tuned in, so
all right,
if I
brother.
misinterpreted, I apologize.
Bye-bye, sir. Okay, let's go to Tom. Tom, number 2. Talk to me, my brother.
Hi, Tom. This is Tom calling. I'm calling from Clear Lake.
Hey, Tom, talk to me, my friend.
I think you need to move to Venezuela.
You think I need to move to Venezuela? Tell me why.
Because what you have described is exactly what they're going through.
Right.
I just read an article about how many pounds that each person has lost because of those policies that you described.
Really?
What makes you think? Tell me what makes you think that a public bank is better than a private?
Okay, let me ask you the converse, and the reason I am asking you the converse is because you are of the belief already that there's something within having something private that's better than public, and then I'll give you a very simple answer afterwards. But what do you think that private makes it better, sir?
I'm listening.
No, I said I want to ask you first, why is private better than public?
Well, anything that the government gets their hands on is ruined.
Okay, can I ask you another question?
I'll give you an example.
Yes.
Quick example. It's health care.
Yes.
You say, let's make it all public.
Yes.
But do you realize, and I'm already seeing it happening, I'm a small business owner.
Yes.
And I have 2 businesses. And I started with absolutely nothing.
Make it quick, sir, because I really want to get to your point, but I need you to be quick because we're near the end of the show.
Real quickly to the point.
Yeah.
Anytime the government gets involved, no matter what it is, it's health care or banking, they will be a problem. Health care, you go into the doctor now, they don't talk to you anymore. You go on a protocol, you go on and look about it. They don't even, you have to wait. If you want to have a procedure done, you're on a list.
Tom.
There's nobody waiting. It's
Tom, let me stop you there because I'm running out of time, but I tell you this. I need to ask you a favor. Around this time of the day, on Thursdays, do you normally listen to radio? Because your conversation...
I like to make myself nuts and listen to you.
Oh, you're a good man. But here's the deal, Tom. I want to you know what? I tell you what, sometime why don't we feature you? Because you are the type of person I want to have a dialogue with. You know why? Because you are somebody on the right who actually can have a dialogue speaking. Why don't we do that sometime?
Well, what are you on? I listened to your show, but I'll try again. But if you want the biggest laugh, it was last night on CNN. Those poor people were tools. They were all tools. Every one of those kids.
All right, I tell you. No, well, let me tell you something. I want to talk to you because I think you're a smart guy. And after we sit down and talk, if you give me a chance to get to you, then I think we can come somewhere, and maybe you'll believe some of the stuff that I'm actually saying.
I'm a Ronald Reagan Republican. I was raised a Democrat. My dad was in the Union.
That's fine. We need to talk. We really need to talk, but we need to talk when we don't have a restriction of 30 seconds here. So let's talk some other time. All right, brother. You have a good one, okay?
Thanks.
Take care now. Bye-bye. All right, let's go to Charlie. Come on in, Charlie.
Yeah, hey.
Talk to me.
So I was just wondering, I know you don't have a ton of time. Maybe it'll be blog 2.0 for you, but just to address there's kind of the facade with the economy of not only are the people earning all the money, like you're talking about, but when there's government bailouts and when there's things like that, that we're also actually assuming the risk. And there's kind of this facade that if you're an entrepreneur and you're starting your business, that you are taking on a higher risk and maybe deserve to make more money. But when those businesses fail and we get the hit. You know, I got to let you go, but let me tell you something. What you just said is also profound. We need to discuss it, but let me just tell you real quickly, you're right. Okay? Okay.
Thank you, brother. All right, folks, before we close the show, I want to get to some of the Facebook folks real quickly. Rachel Moore says, taxation should be based on what the government needs. It should not be based on question of how much do we need, etc. You're correct. I couldn't read all of it, but I get where you're coming from. It's heartening to hear men calling in supporting the youth. Yes, it is. I was so very happy to see the support the youth are getting, because God knows we didn't do our part to make things better for them. And let's see. Welcome aboard, Rafael Coyle. Rubio does not recognize that he is supposed to represent the people. He claimed that it's people voting for him for his views. You get the point. I was kind of shocked yesterday also. But folks, we got to get out of here. Thank you so kindly for being a part of the show. Thank you so kindly for listening to Politics Done Right. Remember, share, and support the show. You have a wonderful day. This is Politics Done Right. I'm Egberto Willies, and we are going to be going out in a little bit. But let me tell you, remember, I think in the next 2 weeks, is it the next 2 weeks that we're going to be having a fund drive? I want you to know that this fund drive going forward from KPFT is not going to be like the old fund drives. We are going to have programming. We are going to have people talking. We're going to have visitors. We're going to have the whole thing. So you stay with us. And when you hear fund drive, don't run. Just stay. Have a wonderful day. Egberto Willies, Politics Done Right. And we are out.
Thank you very much for listening to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. You can personally reach me by sending an email to egberto@politicsdoneright.com. Remember, Egberto is spelled E-G-B-E-R-T-O. Change starts with you. 90.1 KPFT gives you information not tainted by corporate interest. Please visit kpft.org and contribute. Let's ensure continued access to real information and news remain available to all. Again, thank you very much for listening to Politics Done Right.